On the Purple Alphabet, we're always talking about sensory activities. In today's video, I am focusing on the fidget toys. Fidget toys are great for those sensory seekers who need a little bit more input, or they're perfect for people who need to focus a little bit better. So in today's video, I have a whole bunch of fidget and sensory items that I'm going to show you so you can get some ideas and inspirations on what might work for you. Hey you guys, it's Christina from the Purple Alphabet, and I went to Amazon. I scoured the whole website looking for some really great fidget toys. Now I've showed you some before in the past, right? I've done all kinds of sensory videos where I talked about sensory toolboxes and things to put in your sensory toolbox. So I'm gonna leave those down below in the description box. You can go back and check out those videos after you watch this one. But in this one, I'm focusing strictly on fidget toys. I have a lot to show you, a lot to demo, so we're gonna get started right away. This video is filled with all kinds of gadgets. So you guys, seriously, there's gonna be something that you love in here. First off, we're going to show you this infinite fidget. Let your fingers fly. They recommend ages 5 years of age and older on this one. This one's from Toysmith, and I'm going to put a link down below to every single one of these so you can go directly to it, of course. I really like the colors of this one. Okay, it's pretty hefty, like it's the size of the palm of my hand, but when you move it, there's these little hinges on here that allow you to adjust it or fidget with it to make it into new shapes. So depending on how you're holding it, it'll change and open in different ways, where the hinges are, to make new creations, and it just keeps going over and over and over again. So I like that. That's a really good one. Next up, I have these little mesh sleeves. And inside these mesh sleeves are marbles, and these are meant to push back and forth through the mesh sleeves. So it's a really great fine motor exercise and working those hand strengths. Not only that, they're also a great fidget item because they can be held in your hand and barely seen and then moved around or held in your pocket. This package comes with several different ones. They're all the same. They're just different colors. So if you like to have a couple of these around, it might be a great option for you. But this is really great on working that hand strength, which is a great reason to even have a fidget toy. My kids have been playing with these for a while. They got one at like a little birthday party treat bag at school. My sensory seeker has really been enjoying this one for some reason. It's just really, really simple. Kind of almost wish that marble or this mesh bag would go a little bit longer so you can keep on pushing it all the way through. But it is a fun one to do and very, very simple and kind of relaxing too, just pushing it back and forth through the mesh sleeve. And then sometimes in some of the kits you can find online, it will be like one of these included with a whole bunch of other fidget toys. So if you don't want this many, get a multi-pack and you can have just one of them if you wanted to. So these really caught my eye, and I have never tried them. I have never seen them, and I thought they might be fun to give a shot because apparently this little tube inside of here is supposed to squeeze together shut and then pop open and make a sound similar to like popping bubbles. So this time we're not working that pincer grasp, moving the marble. We're working your whole hand here and your finger strength to make it pop. And both of these are basically the same. Oh, that one has a better pop. So if you are a fidgeter and you don't mind the popping, you like the popping, this one would definitely be good. If you have a house where you would be annoyed by this popping, then you might not want to choose this one. You might want something a little quieter because this one can get definitely louder. I'd have to say that this one is louder than the other one for some reason, but they are definitely fun. And they come in all kinds of different colors too. I would have to say that these are also a little bit more difficult to use. So probably a child who's ages 8 and up would probably be able to use this best. So keep that in mind. A younger child is probably not going to be able to squeeze this as hard enough to get that actually to pop. Now, I have showed these before. In fact, I have another video. I think it was like sensory favorites or sensory tools. I can't remember, where I showed some more fun sensory things. So I'm going to put that up here in the corner because that might be of interest to you if you're watching this video to watch after this video. This one is a giant one, which is actually cool because there's 100 bubbles in here. And these are the pop bubbles where you push down the little bubble and you can turn it over and you can do it again. Great fidget toy. There's also some games you can play with this, but I like that this one was giant. There's a lot of popping to go on here, but not only is it giant, is that there's 100, so you could probably use this for counting or counting to 100 or counting down to calm down along with all the different games. And it's kind of addictive too. So this one is a really cool option because there's a lot of pop bubbles on here. The ones I showed you in the other videos are smaller. They're also great for travel sometimes if they're smaller, but this one has 100 bubbles on it that you can pop. I like the colors too. So wanted to show you this one, that it's actually available now. I don't think it was available when I made the last video. Keep this in mind for learning items. It's like a little mini 100 board. And if this is too big for you, they have them in fidget spinners. So they've actually combined two things, the pop bubbles, and then we have that fidget spinner component in here too. So it's kind of combining two of those fidget gadgets into one, which I thought was pretty brilliant. My kids still love fidget spinners as a fidget item, and they love the pop bubble. So this is actually a perfect thing for them. And that's why I have two, because each one of them is going to be able to try them. So that's just another option. They do also come in keychain form too, which is also a fun option just to have on your keychain so that you can grab it and push it whenever you need to do some fidgeting. So those are some new finds in the pop bubble world. Speaking of smaller gadgets, these are called Flippy chains. They just kind of continuously roll in your hand as you move them. This package came with two different ones, a red and a blue. And so this one is more of a discreet fidget that you can't see. So sometimes people, you like the fidgets, maybe they're doing some public speaking, or it just helps them to concentrate on other things as they're using this in their hand. This is one that's a little bit less distracting and less noticeable, especially not using that giant poppet, right? So this one is a really cool one, and they both do the exact same thing, and you just kind of flip them in your fingers and they just keep on going around and around and around. And the weight of them is a really good weight. They're not too heavy, it's not too light. This could actually be clipped onto a keychain or a carabiner or something to have close by and fit in a purse really nicely. This is an oldie but a goodie, and I say oldie because my kids were using this in therapy years and years ago. These are pop tubes, and so they make a great sound and they're a lot of fun. And I even go all the way. This one's really, really long. So make a great sound, but then you can also push them back together again. And you're using the two hands to do that. So it's really great for that fine motor skill and working the hands and the hand strength, and also working those two hands together. From what I understand, I think they can also fit together, so you can make larger chains with them to have even more games. They twist very well and do all kinds of coils and things like that. So that's another way that you can play with them and use them for. They're great for outdoor play, indoor play, also for travel. And they really like that sound. My kids love these. So you can do a couple different things. Make a huge chain. You can use these for color recognition if you're just learning about colors. They're great for the younger children. And they're kind of addictive, and it's satisfying to get it all back together into one piece. This set came with all of these different colors, and I really liked this set, and I like the size of this set too. So if you like to have a whole set where you can put them all together and do different things with them, I highly recommend this set that comes with different ones and the size of these, because sometimes they're too small and they just don't work as well. So these are called pop tubes. These are magnetic rings. They recommend these for ages 8 and up, so a little bit older child. They are individual rings that have a magnetic edge around them. They also move around the inner ring. So there's like a little white ring in there and they move around it. They all connect to each other and they can make different shapes. You can put your fingers in them and move them around. They can stack on one another. So these really work on finger flexibility. And there's a couple different ways that they say that you could use them, which none of them I am good at. So I'm not going to demonstrate those. You can also use them for games, kind of with other people if you have several of these, and you can add on to them and use them as kind of a fidget play toy. I'm trying to move them around here in my hand and I'm not doing very well, so I think I need to practice on this. So I'm trying to show you a little bit of how you can fidget with them in your hand using your fingers and finger strength. I am not that great at it, but other ways that you can use it is just for fidgeting, and you have plenty of them to fidget with and to play around and explore with. You could do it with a couple, you could do it with all of them. You can also put it on your finger and roll it around like this, which is another great way to fidget. So it's just spinning on that inner ring there. And then I like the different colors that they come in, but they do have some instructions on the package for some of the different games that you can play with. These guys are called Wacky tracks. So once again, for fine motor skills, this one I have is a set of 6 that all comes together. It's good for a calming fidget toy, and they have different colors in them. So what these do is they can actually move kind of a clicking fashion. So you can make different shapes out of them. They also move on their little axes, so you don't have to always, you can bend them to be other different shapes too, see? So you can do all kinds of different configurations on them and make them into other things. So there is a little bit of imagination to these too, as well as there is for fidgeting with the coil itself and putting it back to its normal state. They can be pulled apart. So I just pulled this one apart, and you can join them all together and be put back together very easily by just snapping them to make them one. So you can join them all together together, make really one long one, one long fidget toy. You can break them apart and make them into different things in any configuration that you want. And you can just go ahead and bend them and twist them and turn them into different shapes. So this one is called Wacky Tracks, and you're probably going to like that snapping sound that they make. This is a rotate and slide puzzle. I actually have two different ones. One's a little bit bigger than the other, so I'm going to show you both of them. This one is recommended for ages 6 and up, and this one 3 and up. So this one is a puzzle fidget. So as you can see, there's 3 different rows for each color, and each row has a ring that moves and rotates. There's one space here that has an empty space, but that's because that allows us to slide over our pieces in different directions as we turn the puzzle. Now the goal of the puzzle is to complete these patterns. So we have one pattern here at the top, which is what they call the classic pattern. It's already in that pattern for us, and then they have another pattern here on the bottom to try. And of course, you can make your own patterns as well. So as you work this puzzle, you twist it, and then you can move the little pieces around to try and solve the puzzle. So I've just totally twisted it up here and it's not solved. So I would have to figure out how to move the little rings all the way around and then to move the pieces over around too to complete the puzzle. If you don't want to do the puzzle, you don't have to. You can use this just as a fidget toy itself and moving all the pieces. They actually make these larger. There were some that had several more than just 3 rings around. They had some that had, I think, like 12 rings, so you can make even more complicated patterns. The other one's very similar, except you can see it has a couple different rings to it. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rings, but then fewer colors all the way around. And the concept is exactly the same. You have one that's missing, so you can slide it as you need to. And then the rings themselves, or the rows, will move and twist. So a really cool, interesting logic puzzle that's combined with a fidget toy, and you can play it in a couple of different ways too with the different types they have. So there's one that's a little bit longer with more rows. This one has less rows but more colors. If you like fidget toys and sensory items, I'm going to put another video up here on the screen that talks about sensory toolboxes and what kinds of things are in our sensory toolbox. You can go and check that out. Make sure to click subscribe to see more videos like this and give me a thumbs up to show your love.